Worldcoin users respond differently to insensitive social networks influence participation, and digital capital shape inequality within platforms, as Badiou mentioned in his study, Social and Cultural Capital. While this is digital ethnography, study of rules, culture, and technology interaction, multiple layers field work across online systems. Platforms become new institutional evidence. Worldcoin is a private order institution. Code acts as a law, so not a really law, but as use code. Surveillance embedded in infrastructure. Everyone needed to use the orb to verify their identity. Participants produce self-governance. About the regulatory and the social anxiety, the issue comes from the OpenAI Worldcoin link. Global regulatory concerns. Regulatory discussion in multiple regions, including China, Thailand, reflect broader anxiety about private actors building quasi-institutional systems that operate globally. Some observers argue that linking AI innovation with identity verification could normalize surveillance-based governance models. Others view the collaboration as an attempt to proactively address challenges posed by AI-generated content, framing Worldcoin as a safeguard rather than a risk. So there are many debates and controversies around the OpenAI and Worldcoin link. The overlap between OpenAI leadership and the Worldcoin governance has sparked debates about potential conflicts of interest and the concentration of technological power. Critics highlight concerns about privacy, biometric surveillance, and the possibility that AI developers may also shape identity infrastructure without sufficient democratic oversight. About the sociological interpretation, we needed to take this platform as an institutional convergence. The OpenAI Worldcoin relationship illustrates a process of institutional convergence, where technology, innovation, identity governance, and economic infrastructure merge with integrated platform ecosystem. You can see in this graph, technology, innovation, and the identity governance, economic infrastructure convergence in this platform institutional governance based on OpenAI and Worldcoin. This is controlled by elite capital accumulation. From a Badiou perspective, elite technology acts can accumulate symbolic and institutional capital by shaping multiple domains simultaneously. So, what is the trust, power, and the reconfigured authority happen in Worldcoin? For guidance, we can take this as abstract agent systems and trust. Concept of abstract systems help explain how users must trust interconnected infrastructure that operate beyond individual understanding. For Foucault, power in technological architecture analysis highlights how power becomes embedded in technical architecture, producing governance through an algorithm rather than traditional public institutions. Both convergence in reconfiguring authority. The convergence of AI and identity system demonstrated how platform society reconfigures authority, ballooning boundaries between private innovation and institutional governance. We can use the Purdue's study for culture and social capital in this, which look at Worldcoin as a digital capital. Tokens represent economic capital within a digital field. Verified identity and the network ties function as a social capital. Ambassador status and referral achievements generate symbolic capital. Insensitive structure risk reinforcing esteem inequality among users. From Giddens' perspective, we can see this is abstract systems. Users rely on complex technological systems they cannot truly understand. Trust becomes central to participation in blockchain infrastructures. Platform rules enable new forms of agency while constraining behavior. Everyday practice reproduce institutional structures through participation. About the cost perspective, we can see this is working as a power in the discipline. Upper scanners operate as a digital surveillance technologies, enforcing identity norms. Algorithmic governance promotes self-regulation rather than direct coercion. Platform rhetoric of decentralization coexists with centralized design power. Identity verification represents a form of biopolitical governance. So let's put together existing digital identity and regulatory positioning. Imagining technology like AI chatbot and digital identity platforms interact in complex ways with existing regulatory frameworks. Consumer-facing health AI often operate outside traditional medical governance positioning as an informational tool. Sensitive disclosures. Mental health, for example, mental health biometrics are mediated by platform policies and contracts, not sector-specific regulation. So let's take in further with the OpenAI case. AI chatbot and your health data may be a privacy risk. OpenAI provider health consultant systems allow you to upload your electric health record to their service, but no federal regulatory body governs health information shared with AI chatbots. ChatGPT is not HIPAA compliant. Sharing data is a buyer beware contractual agreement. In a breach, users have no HIPAA rights because is limited to FTC intervention or lawsuits. The intersection of medical info and AI remains legally murky. So what is the jurisdictional gaps and the private governance? Designing within jurisdictional gaps is not a necessary regulatory invention, but a reflection of technology infrastructure limitations. Platforms frame service to align with existing legal categories, actively shaping the scope of oversight. Governance shifts from public law to private enforced law embedded within software architecture. Blockchain identity ecosystems as a Worldcoin position tokens as a component of technology infrastructure like the proof-of-personhood, rather than traditional financial instruments. This positioning influences regulatory application, placing identity token hybrid at the boundary of payment, data governance, and digital identity. The result is a redistribution of oversight across multiple domains: consumer protection, privacy law, platform governance, not the absence of regulation. Governance increasingly occurs through technique, design, choice, later procedure, formal legal classification. Platforms innovate in domains where legal categories remain unsettled, rather than directly confronting regulatory frameworks. This involves the law of code interface and the insensitive structure as difficult institutional mechanisms shaping behavior and power relations before public policy fully adapts. So let's do a conclusion. Digital platforms function as new institutions. They organize membership and behavior through technology rather than law alone. And so help reduce hidden power in digital systems.